Kilauea just went full disaster movie, and this one didn't need CGI. 1 minute, it's calm. The next, lava is jetting 200 feet into the air, rocks the size of small cars are flying through the sky, and a national park is getting shut down because volcanic shrapnel is falling onto vehicles. We're officially in episode 41 of Kilauea's volcanic drama series. And no, it's not business as usual. This time, it's not the slow-moving, mesmerizing lava rivers tourists love to post on Instagram. This eruption is explosive literally.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
We're talking violent vent ruptures, loud seismic tremor, and ballistic ejecta being launched like magma missiles across the summit crater. And if you think that sounds dangerous, that's because it is. USGS scientists didn't just raise an eyebrow, they raised full alerts. Episode 41 marks a serious shift in behavior for Kilauea. Unlike the predictable lava flows we've seen in the past, this eruption is powered by pressure, gas, and instability. Basically, the volcano's plumbing system has hit panic mode. The shallow magma reservoir rapidly pressurized, then boom, vents cracked open, the crater lit up like a 4th of July finale, and molten rock shot high into the night sky. That incandescent glow, gorgeous and deadly. Lava fountains reached a staggering 200 feet tall. That's not just a visual spectacle, it's a sign of an extremely volatile eruption style. While the fountains created a fiery display, it was what came next that really turned heads. Ballistic rockfall. We're talking fragments of molten and solidified lava being hurled across the crater and beyond. And these rocks didn't just fall, they landed on rooftops, on roads, on cars. Some of them were still hot, thermally active, dangerously sharp, and completely unpredictable. This isn't just about lava anymore. This is about flying volcanic debris that can and did force the closure of entire sections of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Park officials issued urgent advisories, warning visitors and residents to stay away. Visibility was poor, air quality worse. The ash cloud rolled in, coating everything from vegetation to neighborhoods in a gritty, toxic layer. If you're near the volcano, you're breathing that ash. And it's not just unpleasant, it's a real health risk. Officials urged people to stay indoors, especially those with respiratory issues. For those living nearby, this eruption was less of a scenic marvel and more of a suffocating hazard. Seismic activity didn't let up either. In fact, it escalated. Rapid, intense ground tremor signaled that magma was draining from the summit's reservoir faster than it could be replenished. The result? Sudden summit deflation. That's not just a geological footnote, that's a red flag. It means Kilauea's inner workings are in overdrive, pumping out magma in unstable bursts. Not a good sign. Now, here's where things get even riskier. Scientists observed the buildup of lava splatter around the crater floor. At first glance, you might think that's just cooling rock. But those new formations, they're unstable. We're talking fragile deposits sitting on top of still molten interiors. Structurally weak, thermally unstable, and totally capable of collapsing without warning. A perfect recipe for secondary rockfalls or even localized pyroclastic flows if things really go sideways. Still, after all the chaos, surface activity seemed to die down. But don't let that lull you into a false sense of security. Experts are crystal clear. This isn't dormancy. This is an intermission. The volcano is still restless. Magma is still on the move beneath the surface, pressure is still building, and seismic signals show no signs of quieting. In other words, the next eruption could hit without much warning at all. The USGS and Hawaiian Volcano Observatory are on high alert, with continuous real-time monitoring in place. And thank God for that, because this eruption is a case study in volcanic unpredictability. The classic watch for lava flows strategy. Not enough. This new behavior is all about gas-rich, pressurized magma pushing its way to the surface in explosive surges. It's a different game now, one where eruptions are shorter, more violent, and way less predictable. And let's talk about those ballistic rocks for a second. These aren't just background noise in a volcanic event, they're now front and center. Why? Because they move fast. Supersonic fast. And their flight paths don't follow the neat arcs you might expect. They're influenced by vent shape, pressure bursts, and wind turbulence. That means they can and do go flying off in random directions. When one of those smashes through your roof or lands on a trail, it's not a freak accident, it's a known hazard. That's why scientists are urging for updated evacuation protocols. This isn't just about getting out of the lava's path. It's about creating exclusion zones wide enough to account for these volcanic projectiles. Vertical sheltering, aka don't be out in the open, is now a crucial part of staying safe.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Meanwhile, ashfall blanketed the region, and even though basaltic eruptions like this one don't generate the massive ash plumes you see from more explosive volcanoes like Mount St. Helens, the fine ash here is still a huge problem. It lingers. It infiltrates ventilation systems. It affects people's lungs. It coats infrastructure in a layer of volcanic grit. This kind of ash doesn't just settle and vanish, it sticks around, reducing visibility and clogging up airways long after the lava stops. Health officials urged people to wear masks indoors. Emergency responders advised communities to keep windows sealed. And if that sounds extreme, just know that this type of ash, fine-grained, widespread, and persistent, is no small inconvenience. It's a public health issue, and one that demands better local air quality monitoring and preparation. On the science front, Episode 41 delivered a goldmine of data. Ground deformation, seismic signatures, SOFlux, lava fountain dynamics, thermal anomalies, satellite imagery and infrasound measurements combined to offer volcanologists some of the clearest insights yet into what drives these sudden explosive events. The result? More accurate modeling, better forecasting, and a clearer understanding of how pressure buildup and gas exsolution trigger these bursts of activity. But don't get it twisted, none of this makes Kilauea predictable. What it does mean is that scientists can now start integrating this eruptions data into real-time forecasting tools. The idea? Combine seismic, gas, and deformation signals into automated alert systems that can buy more time before the next blast. Because if there's one thing Episode 41 proved, it's that even a few minutes of early warning could be the difference between safety and catastrophe. Back to the volcano's surface. Those newly formed lava deposits, they're not just cooling down quietly. They're unstable, fragile, thermally insulated crusts formed over still hot interiors. And when those crusts give way, it's not just a rockfall, it could trigger pyroclastic density currents. Fast, hot, and deadly. That's why crater access is being tightly restricted. No Instagram hike is worth your life. Even now, while everything seems quiet, the subsurface story continues. Ongoing microseismicity, CO anomalies in soil, and GPS-detected inflation pulses are all signs that magma is still active below the summit. What's happening isn't a pause, it's a pressure buildup. A metastable state. One small change, whether it's a tectonic nudge or an influx of new magma, could set off the next explosion. So, while tourists might be tempted to flock back for a glimpse of lava, scientists are warning everyone not to let their guard down. This isn't over. It might not even be close to over. And the next eruption could be bigger, could be faster, could come with zero warning. For now, the message is simple. Respect the volcano, respect the science, and respect the unpredictability of nature. Kilauea has reminded us loudly that it's still one of the most active, most volatile volcanoes on Earth. The lava might cool, but the danger doesn't. If you're watching this, drop your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever seen Kilauea in action? Are you surprised by how quickly things escalated? Hit that like button if you're into wild nature drama, and subscribe so you don't miss the next volcanic update, because something tells us Kilauea is not done yet. Let's be very clear, this wasn't just another pretty lava flow lighting up the Hawaiian sky. Kilauea's Episode 41 erupted like it had something to prove. This wasn't gentle. This was violent. And it came with receipts. The shift from effusive to explosive activity is the kind of change volcanologists lose sleep over. Why? Because it's a sign that the volcano's internal system, the very magma plumbing that's kept eruptions somewhat predictable for decades, has reorganized. Think of it like your quiet neighbor suddenly replacing their jazz collection with death metal and blackout curtains. Something's different. And not in a good way. That new system, it's volatile rich. Magma is shooting up faster, accumulating gas pressure at shallower depths, and bursting through with minimal warning. That's not just a change in vibe, it's a total shift in threat level. In volcanic terms, this is the difference between a slow spill and a shotgun blast. And here's the kicker, that gas-driven explosivity doesn't need days of buildup. There aren't always dramatic tremors or visible bulges to warn scientists it's coming. Sometimes, it just happens. That's why the term quiescence is so misleading. When Kilauea looks calm, It's more like a poker player hiding a royal flush one twitch, and it's game on. So what exactly tipped scientists off this time? First, the seismic tremor. It wasn't just background noise. It was intense, like, continuous and high energy, signaling magma moving rapidly and forcefully. Then came the summit deformation, ground literally shifting and collapsing as the pressure below found its release. It wasn't a gradual decline. It was rapid deflation, the kind you only see when magma is escaping faster than it can be refilled. That kind of imbalance is rare and dangerous. Second, the eruption style. The vents didn't just open, they ruptured. Magma didn't flow, it exploded. Those fountains reaching 200 feet. They weren't the start. They were already the climax of a pressure release that had built up in silence. And let's not forget the noise. Explosive events like this generate low-frequency infrasound waves that can travel hundreds of miles. Scientists tracked them in real time. It wasn't just visible, it was loud. Then, the lava splatter started accumulating. At first, that might seem like just part of the eruption aftermath, but these deposits weren't stable. They formed uneven mounds of crust, still glowing hot inside, that shifted under their own weight, like chocolate soufflés with molten centers, except these could collapse violently, sending new waves of hot rock downslope. That instability is why access restrictions around the crater became non-negotiable. People love to chase danger for the gram, but with Kilauea behaving like this, one step too close could mean getting caught in a sudden collapse or hit by fresh ballistic ejecta. That's not a risk. That's a death wish. Let's talk about those ballistic fragments again, because they're not some sideshow hazard. They're central to why this eruption is so threatening. When molten or solidified magma fragments are launched during an eruption, they're not just falling rocks. They're weapons, supersonic, thermally active, and capable of lethal impact. These aren't just bouncing around inside the crater, they're flying several kilometers away. Cars, homes, trails, all fair game. The scary part, their flight paths aren't easily predictable. Wind shear, vent geometry, and explosion angles make them erratic. That means even if you think you're outside the danger zone, you might not be. That's why emergency officials are pushing for new evacuation models that go beyond just lava flow mapping. We're talking broader exclusion zones and more emphasis on vertical sheltering, not just running sideways, but getting out of line of sight. Meanwhile, downwind, total mess. Ash plumes spread across communities, reducing visibility and choking the air. Again, this isn't like the mega eruptions from stratovolcanoes that pour ash into the stratosphere for days. But what Kilauea lacks in volume, it makes up for in reach. Fine ash settled on everything: rooftops, cars, roads, even vegetation. And once it's in the air, it stays there. You breathe it. It gets into your lungs, your hook, your clothes. It's abrasive, it's toxic, and it's especially dangerous for children, the elderly, and anyone with respiratory conditions. Health officials moved quickly. Indoor sheltering, N95-style respiratory protection, and alerts across the region. But it raised a much bigger question. How prepared are these communities, really? In a place where volcanic activity is expected but often underestimated, ash readiness isn't always top of mind. This eruption just pushed that conversation front and center. And while the residents were dealing with the very real, immediate effects: foul air, damaged property, anxiety over where the next chunk of molten earth might land, scientists were in full data collection mode. Because episode 41 didn't just bring danger, it brought information. High-resolution satellite imagery tracked deformation in near real time. So gas emissions painted a picture of the volatile budget. Lava fountain heights, mass discharge rates, and eruption duration all fed into updated models. Infrasound sensors picked up blast energy, and ground-based thermal cameras gave insight into the structural stability of new lava formations. It was a rare chance to monitor a high-energy basaltic eruption with a full suite of modern tools. And that data matters, because eruptions like this don't just affect Hawaii. Kilauea is a global case study for how basaltic systems behave under pressure. The lessons learned here will feed into how we forecast similar volcanoes in Iceland, Italy, Indonesia, you name it. Every pulse of magma, every ash plume, every sonic boom, it all adds to the global understanding of how magma moves, how pressure builds, and how the earth speaks before it breaks. Still, even the best tools can't catch everything. That's why experts are pushing for a shift in strategy. Instead of waiting for big precursors, massive swarms, bulging ground, sulfur spikes, they're learning to listen for the small things. Microseismicity, soil gas anomalies, tiny inflation pulses. Because those subtle changes, They might be the only clues we get before the next eruption. Which brings us back to now. The surface has calmed for the moment. The lava has stopped fountaining, and the ash has settled. But the volcano isn't asleep. It's resetting. And that's arguably more dangerous than when it's actively erupting. Because now, everyone relaxes. Tourists return. Locals let their guard down. And underneath it all, magma is still shifting. Pressure is still rising. And the risk, it's still very real. This eruption was a wake-up call not just for residents or scientists, but for anyone who thinks they understand volcanoes. Kilauea doesn't care about your schedule, your park plans, or your drone footage. It does what it wants, when it wants, how it wants. So here we are standing at the edge of a crater that just reminded the world it's not a tourist attraction. It's a ticking geological time bomb with a flair for the dramatic. Kilauea didn't just wake up, it threw a volcanic tantrum that blanketed towns, shut down parks, and sent rocks crashing from the sky like it was raining fire and brimstone. And the craziest part, this was just one episode. Scientists are calling it a textbook case of pulsed, gas-driven eruption behavior. But let's be real, this isn't a textbook. This is real life. People were dodging volcanic debris in broad daylight. Rangers were evacuating park zones while ash clogged the air like a volcanic fog machine on overdrive. And while the fountains and fireworks grabbed the headlines, the real danger was all the stuff you didn't see coming: the silent gas buildup, the deformation beneath your feet, the rocks flying so fast they outpace sound. Let's not forget, this entire situation unfolded with shocking speed. 1 minute, magma was chillin' underground. The next, boom, vents split open, lava lit up the sky, and suddenly the entire summit crater was a battlefield of pressure, heat, and chaos. No long, winding lava flows inching their way to the sea. No slow burn. Just blast, fallout, silent sand in uneasy pause. And during that pause, we are left wondering, what's next? The answer? No one really knows. That's the terrifying magic of Kilauea right now. The old rules don't apply. The patterns are broken. This isn't the same volcano we thought we understood a few years ago. This is a new era of activity, less predictable, more violent, and deeply unstable. Even the calm feels loaded. Every tremor, every uptick in gas, every microquake could be a prelude to another blast. And with magma still moving beneath the surface, it's not a matter of if there'll be another eruption, it's when. And will anyone get enough warning? For now, the scientists keep watching. The alerts stay active. And the island holds its breath. So if you're the kind of person who thought volcanoes were just lava and selfies, let this be your lesson. Kilauea doesn't play. It erupts when it wants, how it wants, and it doesn't care if you're ready. If you're still watching, respect. You're clearly into the wild side of Earth. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for the latest eruptions and disasters, and drop a comment with your thoughts. Are you team Kilauea is calming down, or team this was just the warm-up? Let us know. Because if there's one thing we can count on with Kilauea, it's that it's never done for good. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, you're officially part of the small percentage of people who don't just click away, and that means a lot. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts, your ideas, or even what you'd like to see next. I read every single one of them, and your feedback genuinely shapes the direction of this channel. If you enjoyed the video, tap that like button. It tells YouTube this content is worth sharing. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload. We've got more exciting videos coming, and trust me, you'll want to be here for them. This channel is just getting started, and your support helps it grow faster than you realize. Thank you again for spending a part of your day here with me. Stay curious, stay motivated, and as always, take care of yourself. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.